we should never quit talking about how the Speaker of the House, Moses Mike Johnson, is a raving lunatic of the highest order. I'm going to play you a clip that is a year and a half or so old, and we should keep playing it until the end of time. This guy is a psycho. Okay. That is so insane. Number one, Jim Jordan is a man who covered up sexual abuse at Ohio State University. So he's, God is somehow including him in this conversation. This is so not normal to have a Speaker of the House says the Lord is waking him up in the middle of the night saying, "You're Aaron, JK, you're the new Moses." He said this on video to an audience of a bunch of other Christian nationalists that believe in this bullshit. And they have penetrated the center of the American government. Now, to our international listeners, this is a huge problem that America has, which is the crazy Christian problem. We have a massive crazy Christian problem in the United States of America, and it's dealt with the following way. People within the Christian faith simply say, well, they're not real Christians, and they're just dismissive of it. And they are a very organized group of people that if you hooked up to truth serum and a polygraph would say and would pass that they were, in fact, Christians. This is a massive problem of indoctrinating American children from a very, very, very young age to not critically think. And it has manifested itself in the breathtaking hypocrisy that is the MAGA administration.
Didn't he also say that God gave him instructions 13 nights in a row? So God, he is sitting there saying his actions are of divine intent. This guy is, it would be funny. I would laugh my ass off if he wasn't second in line to the presidency to someone that's almost 80 years old.
This is something that you see if you're in a large city on a street corner.
That's right.
This is something that reads as mental illness. This is something that reads as delusional. And he is in charge of the House. And he is so obsequious to the needs of Donald Trump that he will sit and tell everybody, I'm a big Christian. God nicknamed me Moses after Moses of the Bible, and I'm doing this whole Christian thing. Meanwhile, he is taking away benefits from the poorest people in the world and the poorest Americans. Here he is on Twitter, and Brian Tyler Cohen's response. Pop this up. Speaker Mike Johnson tweets, "The liberal media refuses to acknowledge that our country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles and ethics. Their stubborn denial of this objective fact further undermines their credibility." Brian Tyler Cohen responds, "The far-right Speaker of the House refuses to acknowledge that our country has a separation of church and state. His stubborn denial of this objective fact further undermines his credibility." But what I want to say to you, Moses Mike Johnson, is if you think that this country was founded on Judeo-Christian values, put up or shut up, because all you tend to do is favor the accumulation of wealth and favor marginalizing the most marginalized people in this group. You shun your nose at social justice and all of the things that the central character of the faith of Christianity would prop up. You thumb your nose to. So you are either a liar, a hypocrite, or a batshit crazy person, or all of the above.
I look at Mike Johnson and I think this is what happens when you gaslight people and they don't learn history. He has not learned why we had the Revolutionary War. He has not learned why people came to North America, what later became the United States of America. It was to escape the Church of England. And so now, because people are not learning history, they're like, oh, yeah, it says under God, in the Pledge of Allegiance. So we are a Judeo-Christian nation. That is why I go back to how terrifying it is. They want to keep the electorate dumbed down. They don't want education for these people because it's easier to gaslight them.
Well, and the under God was added in the 1950s.
Right.
That wasn't in the inception of the country, but it's deeper than not understanding history. He is a deeply indoctrinated person.
Yeah.
And so many Americans get deeply indoctrinated in this evangelical death cult. And that's what it is, because they want to deny women health care. They further marginalize LGBTQ plus communities. One of their biggest issues is not to take care of the sick. It's not to take care of the poor, is to protect corporate interest and to demean gay people. That is one of their huge tenets. As a person who lives in Oklahoma City, I see evangelical Christians of a little bit of love on the surface, but deep-seated hatred. These people, right when you scrape off the veneer of, oh, hi, how are you, is a deep-seated hatred because they have been told from the day they were born, God loves you unconditionally. But if you don't love him back, he's going to torture you forever. That inherently is so insane. So to critically think causes these people so much pain and torture because when they were children, when they first started to critically think, then they're told, you can't think that way, or God, the guy who loves you unconditionally, is going to torture you forever. And this is a massive problem in the electorate that a lot of politicians don't want to address. And it is these crazy Christians in the United States. When they left Europe, all the crazy Christians came here. The European religions evolved and are pretty much now diluted out. All right, next up, we do have a Texas Christian congressman who is calling out Christian hypocrisy. And in my opinion, it are people within the faith that need to call out these charlatans. Play the clip.
What's the fourth commandment?
Keep the Sabbath.
Part of keeping the Sabbath holy is not working on the Sabbath.
That is, yeah.
What day is the Jewish Sabbath?
It is on Saturday.
And what day is it today?
It is Saturday. Here we are.
The Christian Sabbath is what day?
Sunday, in honor of the day that Jesus rose from the dead.
And we're scheduled to give this bill a final vote on what day of the week?
It's ironic, isn't it?
Would you be willing to postpone your bill so that we're not breaking the Ten Commandments by working on the Jewish or Christian Sabbath?
I love that you said that because
You're saying that you'd rather tell people to follow the Ten Commandments than follow it yourself?
I would have rather have had this bill passed the other day when it was time.
We as a legislature are about to force every teacher in the state to post the Ten Commandments in their classrooms.
If
Do
they are
members
donated.
of the Texas legislature follow the Ten Commandments?
So again, this bill is about honoring our historical, educational, and judicial heritage with the displaying of the Ten Commandments.
The ninth commandment is thou shalt not bear false witness. Are you aware of any?
Okay. All right, before we dive into what a masterclass that was to take on face-to-face the breathtaking hypocrisy that is in the epicenter of this MAGA movement, which is white Christians just like her, I want you to support our show and support our democracy by supporting our sponsors. You guys, a bunch of my personal information was online. I signed up for this app called DeleteMe. It makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable.
It's crazy how easy it is to access people's personal information. And you see an uptick in doxing and other kinds of attacks against people, and they're finding their information on the internet. So DeleteMe is such a gift.
As someone with an active online presence, privacy is really important to me. Have you ever been a victim of identity theft, harassment, doxing? If you haven't, you probably know someone who has, and DeleteMe can help. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off your DeleteMe plan by texting IHIP to 64,000. The only way to get 20% off is to text IHIP to 64000. That's IHIP to 64,000. Messages and data rates may apply. Now, back to this brilliant Texas congressman. He just very simply calls out the hypocrisy, and you see that she falls apart. She laughs at it. She thinks it's funny. So she wants to say, I can do whatever I want, but I want to indoctrinate these kids into doing what the Ten Commandments say and then hold them accountable when I myself do not even hold myself up to these standards. And this guy is a Christian, and he actually is somebody who wants to lift up the poor, not judge the LGBTQ plus, reconcile our racist past. And then he calls out, and I guarantee you that woman right there, anti-gay, you know she's a huge racist. You and I both know women just like that. Just a little bit of love on the outside, deep-seated hatred in the epicenter. And I love how he calls her out.
He does a great job. What I think, you weren't raised or indoctrinated like I was, but a fundamental part of evangelical Christian theology is we are better than you. The rules don't apply the same to us because we're better. We get to stand in judgment of you because we are chosen by God. And bad things don't happen to us because we're better than other people. And that is why it is so easy to have dissonance against the poor, against the sick, and only want what's best for you individually and not the collective group.
I think that's a really good point. And I think it's important that people within the faith, a credible messenger like this guy, call them out. Because for me, I'm going to be, if I call out the religious right, they're immediately going to be dismissive and say, oh, she's an atheist or a Satanist. And listen to how Ryan Walters does exactly that. Listen to this clip when he got his ass beat in the Supreme Court trying to get taxpayers to pay for a religious school in Oklahoma. SCOTUS said no. Listen to him.
Oh, first of all, it's really unfortunate. I mean, the only winners here are Satanists, atheists, and our Attorney General getting her drumming. But here's where we go from here. We're going to be the state that brings it back up. We're going to continue fighting for parents to have these opportunities. The radical left continues to fight school choice and religious liberty. The reality is they met every single criteria of a charter school in Oklahoma, and our state Supreme Court, and now the U.S. Supreme Court, has said, well, I know, but they're
This guy is the biggest hypocrite on the planet. There is a massive poverty problem in Oklahoma. There is not a massive Satanist, atheist problem in Oklahoma. I can tell you, I am a unicorn in this state. This idea that there are all of these rainbow soldiers running around trying to indoctrinate kids at schools and whack off their wieners is a complete lie, trying to distract people from the fact that this guy is a total hypocrite that doesn't give a shit about educating your kids. He doesn't give a shit about kids not having nutrition or school lunches. He doesn't give a shit about a kid getting bullied because maybe they're a tomboy or maybe they're an effeminate male. He, in fact, encourages such a thing. This state is a prime example of breathtaking hypocrisy. I'm going to tell you about my congressman in my area. Her name is Stephanie Bice. She claims to be so pro-life, but she votes against funds that would feed kids at school. That is not pro-life, that is anti-life. She's a breathtaking hypocrite that always runs and votes for corporate interests. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're the former Christian. Jesus spoke out against the accumulation of wealth, yet these people constantly vote for the wealthy to accumulate more wealth. And they also are completely braggadocious about their religion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Jesus spoke that was also disgusting to him, and he didn't think that was a great example. This guy was a humble guy that wanted to lift people out of poverty and meet people in pain to help comfort them. This MAGA movement is a party that traffics in recreational cruelty. And those of you that don't live in a red state, and those of you that don't live in a religious state, this is the battleground where they're testing this shit. And it's coming for you. These people are dumb, but yet smart with their ambition. They're dumb because they don't critically think, but they figured out that if we get everybody to think the way we think, then we can control everybody. And it's wildly, wildly dangerous. And this is what's coming for the entire country.
Right. We're a microcosm of what's going to happen. And Ryan Walters fails to see that Oklahoma is 49th and 50th in education. He has so many problems that he could tackle, yet he is worried about public schools being Christian when he should be worried about the fact that 8th graders can't read. But he's not. He's worried about, because he wants propaganda in the schools, indoctrination. He's the grossest. Awful.
Yes. And it's important to point out that nobody in this state, because we have a Republican MAGA supermajority. I mean, the governor's kind of poked at him a little bit, but not that decisively, because at the end of the day, the governor is a total religious whack job as well. So you have people who won't speak out against this because they all are in on the con. Tell the people that the gay people and the immigrants and the trans people are the reason you can't have nice things. Meanwhile, they're making the oil and gas companies in this state richer and richer and richer, and they don't pay taxes, and they're completely ignoring the poor, which their faith, not my faith, but their faith prompts them to reconcile. And they don't. They do the opposite. They destroy their lives even more. And they do it with pride and under the guise of we're Christians and we're into fiscal responsibility. It is fiscally irresponsible to not have the richest people in this country pay their fair share in taxes and to burden the poorest people in this country. And so I just think these people are gross. They've ruined our country. And the national news needs to start calling out these religious hypocrites. Just relentlessly, because that's what they are. These are complete, total hypocrites. All right, we'll see you all later.